What's up, guys? How y'all doing? It's your boy Shazne. So this is my Beast spoilers thoughts on video. Um, I think it's been 2 days since I've seen the film, and it's gonna take a while till I can kind of wash off my experience and the kind of the feeling post Beast. I'm gonna say straight up, is the fact that of course, obviously, I'm a film fan first, right? But I'm also a die-hard Thalapathy fan, as you know, grew up watching him. So there's a deeper emotional feeling here that is kind of rough as a fan of Thalapathy to experience a film not only just being disappointing, right? A film that didn't work, but beyond a film that is taken away from us. A film that could have been the best Thalapathy film. The Thalapathy film, at least a lot of you guys, including myself, always wanted to see. And the problem is the film itself made in the first 15 minutes. With everything, it was definitely a roller coaster of an experience. And yeah, I think even those who enjoyed were able to see some of the issues. And there's some who actually genuinely do enjoy Beast and they resonate with the whole comedic element of the film. And a lot of people laughed, when I was watching it. Of course, it was first day first show, and a lot of people having a good time, and it was funny. The comedy aren't bad, they're funny. It's just like I spoke about that on my initial thoughts on video, where just because it's funny doesn't mean it's really working with the tone this film supposedly tried to set but never lived up to that promise. So on this video, I'm gonna go deeper into this, right? I'm gonna kind of break it down. I don't know how long this video is gonna be. I don't want to make it way too long, but it's gonna be long because I do have a lot of feelings, and a lot of you want to know my in-depth thoughts on some of these issues. First off, the three best things about Beast that are so good, in my opinion. If you're a Thalapathy fan, right? There's three things in Beast that are so good that is worth the price of admission, right? It's worth a ticket of price. Like it is what it is because it's so good that I do not regret. I will never regret watching a Thalapathy film, of course, because at the end of the day, despite the film's quality, Thalapathy is the king, the legend, the greatest, and he always gives 100%. He always gives 100%, and you can tell that in the first 15 minutes of the film, where he went above and beyond for these action sequences. The first 15 minutes is some of, if not the greatest Thalapathy movie I've ever seen in my life. Take it however you want to take it. Of course, there's been overall better films, clearly. But me, personally, the first 15 minutes of Beast is what I've always wanted to experience and feel from a Thalapathy film. It's something that I really wanted to see Thalapathy do on that level of quality and execution. And not only the action and the choreography and Thalapathy, there was a narrative structure to that first 15 minutes of the film that was so rich and so beautiful, and I couldn't believe what I was experiencing. And right when the title card appeared, I was like, you know what? When I get out of here, I'm gonna watch the movie once again, right back, because that's how good the first 15 minutes was. So the movie starts off literally in a narrative basis. There isn't a slow mo fest intro. It's the first shot of the film starts off with an actual narrative point to create an engagement to the audience. Right, you're already getting immersed into this fun little cute relationship that has been building between Talabadi and this little girl. And it's kind of cute. So there's already an attachment that's been created. And I was like, damn, the fact that the film starts off with that being the primary focus, we are in it for something legendary. And the film keeps on going, and then now we get to see that this Talab is about to the character Vira is about to go on a one man mission. And my God, Every single frame was next level PS fire. The usage of frame rate was brilliant. And whenever there was slow-mo, it was very minute, and it was a great cheerful moment. I like the moment they decided to use slow-mo in the first 15 minutes of the film. I thought they used it effectively for style, also substance, which was absolutely brilliant. The flips, the speed in which Thalapathy moves. Like, listen, man, like it's clear, it's night and day. It's clear that Thalapathy is the goat when it comes to an action star in Tamil cinema. Nobody on his age, on his caliber, on his level of star power, and let's face it, Thalapathy is the king of Hollywood. Nobody can do what he is capable of as an action star. Not Surya, not Ajit. Of course, Kamal Hassan, Rajinikanth, they're old now. Nobody except Thalapathy. The way he looks physically, right? The way he moves, in the speed in which he moves. He's 47 years old, but we don't see that well choreographed and executed action scenes where Thalapathy is doing all of these scenes. So there's a lot of wide shots. There isn't any quick, annoying edits. Everything is precisely put together. Everything felt effective. You felt every single hit. And again, a lot of wide shots. Seeing Talabadi doing all those things makes it so exciting. And I was completely in love. This was everything I was hoping and expecting for. And then that sequence ends with a tragedy. And then that kind of sets up the whole mood and tone of the film, and then the title card appears. So it wasn't even a cheerful moment. It was like, oh my god. And then the movie begins, and I was waiting for the movie to start going. I don't know what the hell was happening. I mean, they were taking a lighthearted approach, fine, but I was waiting for that tone and the promise they set us up in the first 15 minutes of the film. And the movie never got there. Not even once. Mind boggling. People have been trying to find excuses to why and all that kind of stuff. At the end of the day, if the film was great, all the praise will go to Nelson because he's the man behind it all. He wrote and directed it. The film didn't work. He didn't do a good job. People talk about, oh, they should have given more time or whatever. If you wanted more time, you should have asked. Maybe you should have moved on. There's This is your career. Like, you're working with Thalapathy, and if you genuinely knew you'd have enough time to finish the script, why even get started? Like, it doesn't make no sense. Enough with excuses. At the end of the day, the director needs to pull it off. That's his job. That is what he's getting paid for. And because if he does a good job, right, with Doctor, we were getting all excited about Nelson and all that kind of stuff. Like, it's what it is. And he didn't deliver. He didn't deliver. It is what it is. So the other two things that I loved about the film were the two songs. Thalapathy, with Master, Vati coming was well choreographed. That was fun. Then there's some other songs in between, years that Thalapathy had some great performances. But this is hands down the best Thalapathy dance numbers. I would say maybe even in a decade. Like, it's been a long time, where from start to finish, every minute, every second of the song, Thalapathy was a whole nother level. And I hope we get to see more of the choreographer. His name is Johnny Master. I think we have to see more of him. Hopefully in Thalapathy 66, we get some of it, because I'm pretty sure that movie is gonna have multiple songs. It seems like more of a traditional commercial film, which I will get to, which I'm gonna talk a little bit about. But so those are the three best things. I did enjoy the Thalapathy Pooja combination. The chemistry was on fire. They both looked fantastic. She looked stunning. Like, it was great. I really liked the dynamic they were creating. But at the end of the day, it served nothing. So I can't really call it the best thing. They had great potential there, but it wasn't well explored whatsoever. So the literal three things that I genuinely loved was the two songs and the way that was executed and put together, and also the placement. I thought the placement really worked, and the opening sequence, the first 15 minutes. Listen, don't get me wrong, Beast is doing great at the box office, right? The highest opening day of all time. But is that a surprise? I mean, it's Thalapathy, it's the gout. So his name alone is gonna make money. So that's not the point. We're not talking about the revenue, the box office success of Beast. We're talking about the film itself here. So keep that in mind. When that sequence ends and when we start the movie with Thalapathy at this therapist scenario, this was a great angle they came in with, where now he has this trauma with what he caused, the betrayal the government caused, and him being responsible for a child's death, and that trauma being turned into a effing joke, inexcusable. I know that Nelson is great at taking very serious issue and making it light out of it, but in Doctor, no matter how funny Doctor was, you never felt like child trafficking was a joke. You never felt like, even though there's a lot of comedy, there's a lot of humor in Doctor, you never felt like child trafficking was a joke. It was a serious issue, but handled in that specific tone. But here, Talabadi's Vera's trauma is always portrayed as some kind of a joke. Like even in the wedding, when that joke happens, that's the potential. That's probably the limit where you can take that joke, and it made sense. And then that's how he meets Pooja. I thought that worked very well, that trauma in that moment. But for the rest of the film, for the character to not really, because I mean, like if you truly feel a sense of anxiety or trauma where you're hearing everybody, if somebody hears a child crying, they can maybe hear somewhat, but they're suffering in his ears. That kind of a trauma not being explored and utilized to this character's struggle, how do you not emphasize on that? That really made no sense to me. Like especially the villains. Again, we talk about how dumb these terrorists are. I mean, in the sequence where the villain sees that Talabadi has a weakness because his kid is being threatened, they should have probably took every single child from the mall and used them as leverage. Because you see, this character's Vera's weakness is kids suffering. So the villain could have manipulated his trauma and used that as an advantage, because that's this invincible's character's weakness. But that didn't cross their mind. I don't think you need a 2 year thought process to write that angle. It's right there on your script. Okay, whatever. So because the character was so invincible, after a certain point, everything felt mundane and boring. Everything felt lackluster. There was no impact. There was no emotional immersion. There's no emotional engagement. There was no difference watching a television show and this cinematic experience, because it wasn't cinematic whatsoever. So that was a massive, massive, massive issue. And the beast element. Is he a beast because he's invincible, or is he a beast because he's an animal? There's really no answer to that. The best way they could have executed the idea of beast, the title of the film should be felt, not said every 5 minutes. Okay, like when every character always kind of talks about how much of a beast, how much of a badass, how much of a tough guy he is. That's not what, like you. That's like me going out there and walking around the street and be like, yo, I'm the toughest guy on the streets right now, bro. Like, no, it doesn't matter. I could tell my mom to say that. Like for every mother, their son is some sort of a, like, legendary figure. You know what I'm saying? So that means nothing. It's about how you feel. It's what the characters do. What Vera does, and his complexity, struggles. None of it was explored. I know he wants to create like a poker type character, but the pokery character Tamil, is complex. Does go through a lot. Does make a lot of sacrifices. We get to see his vulnerable side. We see his rage and anger. There's a lot more complexity, layers, and dimensions to that character. And here, you set up all these things where he's going through this trauma. He had all these issues. He doesn't trust the government. There's a lot of elements here, but none of it is explored. Does he want a relationship? Does he want to be in a relationship? Does he even take us seriously? Like, I don't even understand what was the evolution of this character. You know what I'm saying? So that was always a weird thing. I mean, like, what is the purpose of this story? So like that made really no sense to me, because even when you take a hijack situation or whatever, the emotional engagement in many of these type of films, this type of genre of films, is about, okay, how will you desperately want the lead character to survive and get to his family, or any of that situations that he might be attending to, right? It doesn't matter if you know, okay, he's gonna survive because he's the main lead, or he's gonna survive because he's a superstar. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that we feel safe because it's Thalapathy playing this character. It's not about that. It's about the experience. It's about how does he survive? How does he get these people out there? How much did it take? What it took to get these people out of this situation? That's the experience. Not whether will Thalapathy survive or die during this process. We know it's a genre piece. The good guy's gonna win. So that's like every movie. We know the good guy's gonna win in mainstream commercial basis. We know the good guy's always gonna win. The good guy's always gonna win. But it's the experience, the journey, what it takes, what it took, the evolution of the character. That's what makes it special. That's what makes it great and immersive. And here, from beginning till the end, Vera was always the same. Like what evolved? What changed? What about his trauma? Is he good now? Did it went away? What was the point? What is the overall point of this film? So that wasn't there. So that is like on a I am surprised that on a script basis, Thalapathy didn't ask these questions or wondered where's the emotional core. Maybe the child trauma, right? I mean, the trauma he has with the kid's death, maybe that's the emotional engagement that he carried through, and he maybe believed Nelson's going to execute and showcase that in a very specific way, and that is the emotional tie-in to the audience. But that was never truly really explored in any meaningful way. Throughout the entire film, I was expecting, where is the beast going to show up? All odds against him. Why is he the best spy in the world? Why is he ruthless? Why does the government doesn't even want to work with him? Because this dude is insane. Where is the animalistic nature to him? Because that's kind of how everybody talks about him. Like, this guy's scary, be careful. They're basically saying they don't know how to control him. There's a lot of uncertainty with this dude. But you never feel it. You never feel none of it. Everything is constantly said. And we gotta stop talking too much in these Tamil movies. Enough with this, like more like a lot of these Indian films. If you watch Triple R, one of the best aspects of Triple R, yes, there's exposition, but the way it's done, it's amazing, it's beautiful, it's powerful, it's immersive. But many of the films sequences are done with emotions and visual storytelling. That's one of the reasons why Triple R is connecting around the world, not just in India. It's connecting the United States, it's connecting everywhere. Because beyond the dialogue and the expositions here and there, most of the movie is very visual. It's visual storytelling. I watched a movie in Telugu with subtitles, and I barely had to read subtitles because you already understood and felt everything was happening on the screen. And we need more of that. That's how you pull an audience into a film. And when it comes to action, is the physical storytelling you can possibly get to. Everything is direction, everything is movement. So you can do a lot without saying much. Look at John Wick movies. John Wick barely speaks, and you feel everything is going through. He barely emotes, but you know everything is going through. You can do a lot with less, especially in an action genre. So there's a lot of ideas right there on the script that they just never explored. Why Yogi Babu there? The mall, the amount of people in the mall is sus, first of all. A lot of it really felt bland and uninspired. And it's crazy that it felt lazy. And I know that there's no way anybody on set making a Thalapathy film were being lazy. But I could only speak for what I felt watching this film. Except for Thalapathy. And I think except for Thalapathy and Pooja. Because I think Pooja, with whatever limited scenes or poorly written dialogue she may had, she was always giving 100%. The comedic aspects of the film, they were just being themselves with whatever Nelson wanted them to do or say. And there was like nothing there. And Thalapathy was giving his all physically, following directions. But the rest, it's on Nelson. And I don't know, what was he thinking? Was he that blindsided? So that sucks, because some of the easy choices, right? For example, the interval block. I like the idea of the car, driving through the mall. I thought that was kind of visually exciting to kind of see. And then the way that concludes, that point, I was like, oh no. If you think this is the best way to send the audience off to an intermission, if this is the best shot and the best moment, oh no, we are not in it for something good in the second half. I was worried. I'm like, no way he ended like. So we just right now, I want to talk about the worst scene in the film. I may even say this was the moment. I mean, there was many moments that was disappointing, underwhelming, shocking by the execution, but this moment right here, this when this is when I felt like a real clown, having faith in Nelson delivering something special. It's the moment with VTV Ganesh literally spilling the beans to a random dude sitting next to him. That I don't understand in what angle did Nelson come in with for him to see that as an exciting, positive way for a villain to gain somewhat of an advantage, which was I think it was also a weak advantage. He didn't even utilize whatever the information that was given to any real capacity. I really don't know what was the intention behind that writing, that execution. What were we supposed to feel? If the feeling was, oh my god, this other dude that's been helping Vera's gonna get caught, was the intention and angle, if that was the final destination you want to get to, for you to find the laziest way possible to get there was truly astonishing and disappointing to me. There was a sense of mutual confusion amongst the audience to what we were actually witnessing in that moment. It's so hard because this movie is a comedy, so in a scenario of you're making a comedy, I could see that happening. But this film was not marketed as a comedy. This film was not set up as a comedy with this opening 15 minutes. At some point, you gotta take the story you're telling or the circumstances and situations these characters are put in seriously. At some point. Even in Kolama of Kokila, it was present. Even in Doctor, that was present. The danger was present. In Beast, everything, everybody, all of it was a joke. I don't know how else to spin this, but it is what it is. The third act of the film felt so random. So we just happened to accept that, okay, it's been 1 month and the character Vera has been secretly doing his own mission that we didn't get to see, so everything was happening off screen. And we basically watching a sequel to Beast, and we're watching literally the ending of the sequel with the third act. The idea behind the third act, him infiltrating and being part of the organization for a month and kind of also training with them, and planning everything around, and somehow gets a jet parked right. That's one of the weirdest things for me when I was watching. Hold on a second. Nobody noticed there's a jet parked. I mean, that area was so wide and empty. There's nothing around it. It was just a couple of blocks. And there's a jet parked right outside, and nobody was suspicious. Nobody was alert. So that was such a weird. That was a weird. Why would Nelson think that made sense? And I'm driving back home, and I'm just thinking, I'm like, oh my god, like, wait, what? This is Beast. This is what I've been getting hyped about since day one. Felt more of a tragedy. So, I mean, listen, guys, that is my kind of overall in-depth thoughts, with some specifics. I've read all of your thoughts in the previous video, and it's been interesting. Some very different perspectives and opinions, but it's been interesting. Keep it coming. I really love hearing different perspectives, and that was really really interesting. But yeah, listen, the movie's probably gonna end up making blockbuster amount of money. I think it's Talaba's at a stage, at this point in his career where he has to make something worse than Ananta Valime Beast combined for it to maybe flop. Maybe. Talaba's in such a crazy point in his career where he can literally put out anything and it's going to be the highest opening day of all time and just break records and make a lot of money. But with Kannada, with Telugu industry and the amount of quality they're producing, the effort they're putting, it's no excuse. Tamil cinema needs to bounce back. They need to show the level of greatness they have. So we'll see how all of this will play out. I'm looking forward to Vikram and Vande Tinadikadu. Those are my next two most anticipated Tamil films, and hope those don't disappoint us. Hope those deliver. I think they have to for redemption, because this year so far mostly been very sour. But anyways, I was gonna talk about Thalapathy 66, but I think I'm gonna make another video because this is long enough. I have a lot to kind of cut and edit, try to make it somewhat shorter because this one's a long one for me. With that being said, guys, hope y'all enjoyed my spoilers, thoughts on Beast. If you want to share more of yours on the comments down below, let me know. If you share some of my feelings or you defer to some things that I've mentioned, let me know. I love reading your thoughts as usual. And if you enjoyed this, like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and see you guys on my next one. Salute.